Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Berea City Council meeting, Tuesday, March the 18th, 2025. I'll call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, please let the record reflect that a quorum is present. This time I would call on Teresa Centers to lead us in the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. Teresa.
If you'll bear with me. Father God, we're so thankful for today and this beautiful weather that we've had, and we're thankful for everything that you bless us with. We ask that you'll go with us as we conduct the city's business this evening and guide and protect us and every citizen and every member of the staff of this city. It's in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Teresa. The next item is approval of the agenda. Before we do that, I would like to request a motion to amend the agenda to add executive session to discuss the potential appointment of an individual employee under KRS 61.8101F, and that would become the new number 13. Is there a motion by Mr. Second. Is there a second by John Payne? Any discussion on the motion to amend the agenda? Seeing none, I'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Motion carries and the agenda is amended. Next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda as amended. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
By Steve Cottle with a second by Cora Jane Wilson. Any discussion on the motion to approve the agenda as amended? Seeing none, I'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, please say no. The motion carries and the agenda is approved. The next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from our March 4th, 2025 meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? By Teresa Centers with a second by John Payne. Any discussion, corrections necessary on that? Seeing none, I'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to approve the minutes from March 4th, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. The motion carries and the minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda is Municipal Order Number 02-2025, Council Meeting Procedures. Mr. Gilbert.
Municipal Order Number 02-2025, amending the conduct of legislative body meetings. Amending Section 2, Agenda Format, is amended to include public comment following approval of meetings agenda with the following provisions in 2C subsection D. Public comment allows members of the community to speak at regular council meetings and is limited to 20 minutes. Comments are to be limited to 3 minutes unless additional time is granted by the presiding officer and are limited by the standard public comment provisions of VB below. Those wishing to make public comments shall sign in with the city clerk prior to the meeting in order to allow the presiding officer to identify speakers and their topics. The presiding officer may organize speakers and with the same or similar topics together or limit speakers to ensure a range of topics is addressed. In the event that multiple persons sign in to speak on the same or similar issue, the presiding officer may request that the individuals designate a spokesman to ensure all concerns are addressed efficiently. Those are the proposed amendments to Municipal Order 02-2025.
Is there a motion to approve and adopt Municipal Order Number 02-2025?
So move.
By Mr. Little. Is there a second? Second by Cora Jane Wilson. Is there discussion on the motion to approve and adopt Municipal Order Number 02-2025?
I want to say one thing.
Jerry, you have floor.
I want to commend John Payne. He advocated, to bringing this up, before the vote. And I think that's what everybody wanted, and I appreciate the work. And then Steve here, he wanted it put after the approval of the minutes, and I think that's a good idea too. And I thank y'all.
Additional discussion on the motion to approve and adopt the municipal order. Katie?
So, thanks for saying that, Jerry. I had a question. Does this proposed amendment address the location of the comments? Is that what you're saying, Jerry? It does?
It brings it right up after the approval of the minutes. It goes, the public comment will be before anything is read on the agenda. That's where
Thank you.
everybody's seen it.
Okay, thank you.
That's where it probably needed to be, to give public to speak, okay?
Let me go to Steve, then I'll come back to the other Steve. Steve
I
Davis.
just had a quick question. We currently do approval of agenda and then minutes, so we're actually doing B and C in reverse order. Does that need to be corrected to meet our current?
I think it says approval of minutes.
Yeah, it'd be-
Approval of minutes. Is it
it would
agenda?
be after approval of the minutes.
Yeah, B and C, we do that currently backwards, B and C,
Oh, in our,
in our
I'm
actual,
with
in
you.
our actual decorum.
so we just need to start putting approval of agenda.
After approval of minutes.
Yeah. We're doing it currently incorrectly. We need to flip these for future.
Okay,
And the only reason I point that out is if you're gonna say public comments after meeting agenda, that's gonna be confusing, because we don't currently do it the way we have B and C. We're currently doing it, those are reversed.
it needs to be said before we start anything on the agenda.
Right.
Okay? And let me come back to Steve Cottle, and then I know there are other comments. Steve?
A clarifying question, and this is, I don't have it in front of me, so we don't have anything about yielding time to other people. You get 3 minutes unless approved otherwise, right? Because I know we've modeled this after some that do have yield, and I don't want to add that.
No, it's not in there. There's no yielding time.
Okay, that was my only question.
The way I understand it, it's, and Mr. Little, you may want to comment on that, it's modeled after the counties. Am I correct on that?
It's modeled basically, but they've got to where you can somebody can give somebody else their 3 minutes, and we didn't put it in ours.
And to Steve's point, that's
But
not in this.
if one person, if there are 4 or 5 topics of the same thing, you'll put it together, and there'll probably be one spokesman, and that's, we're not trying to silence anybody, okay? That's what public needs to be able to speak.
Let me come back to this side. I see John with his light on. John?
I'm good.
Corjane?
I'm good, thank you.
Other comments or discussion on the motion to approve and adopt municipal order number 02-2025? Further discussion. On this one, I will request a roll call vote, and I'll begin with Steve Davis.
Aye.
Aye.
John? Katie?
Aye.
Teresa?
Yes.
Jerry?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Corjane?
Aye.
And Ronnie?
Aye.
Motion carries by a vote of 8 in favor, 0 opposed. My thanks to everyone who was involved with finding common ground and finding something that everybody could live with. That's obvious by the vote that this is something that's fully endorsed, and I appreciate the extra work that went into it. I also want to amplify Jerry's comment to compliment John Payne for bringing this forward, because it is something that did need to be earlier, as it was several years ago. So, John, thank you for what you did to raise the issue. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 04-2025, revising authorized positions, pay, grade, and pay scale. This is the first reading. Mr. Gilbert.
Whereas in ordinance number 19-2024, the Department of Tourism was separated from the Department of Business Development, and whereas as a consequence of the city's authorized positions, assigned pay grades and pay scale must be updated to conform to the current organization of the Department of Tourism in order to remain current and to maintain an effective and efficient workforce. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Berea, Commonwealth of Kentucky, Section 1, that the personnel policies of the City of Berea are hereby amended by the attached exhibit conforming the employment positions with the current with the correct city department. Section 2, that all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are repealed. This ordinance shall be published according to law.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert, and that is the first reading of the ordinance. I'll note that a work session was held on March the 17th to go over the reason for this. Per practice, I would open the floor for any discussion or comments about the first reading. Teresa?
I apologize for not being able to have met with you all yesterday afternoon. The I have a question. I'm noticing that the change was to separate business and tourism.
Correct.
And as I was looking at this, it looks to me as if all the department heads, with the exception of 2, are in that category 10, but parks and codes remain in 9. Is that an oversight, or?
I don't think, and Sean may be able to speak on this better than I can, I don't think it's an oversight. What you'll recall is we had the pay and
I
classification
do
study
remember
last
that,
year.
but I mean, I can't imagine that.
We did have someone that was a consultant that kind of led us through that process to
I
simplify.
remember that, and
What we
I
can
just,
do is we can
I'm
probably,
just curious about why those 2 would be in a.
I really don't know the answer to that, but we can go back and check through the notes that we have on that particular study. There should be something Robin has where we can go through and double check it,
Okay.
just to make sure it wasn't an oversight, but we can do
Okay.
that. John, if you would take that as an action item.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, Katie?
I also was not at the work session.
No problem.
Thank you for answering my question. This highlighted position with the fire department, does that have anything to do with, I thought we were only talking about business and tourism. Is this something new as well?
Actually, this was added in as a new position, but it will not be a new hire. There'll be no additional staff that would be hired for this. But Sean and Charlie Russell worked on this, so I'll let Sean speak to
Great.
that, the need for
Yeah.
that position, Sean.
Cool.
It's a good question, Katie. What we had, to deal with the Kentucky pension, you have to get paperwork in for them to approve a job description. And if we don't get that in before April 1st, that will not be approved in July. So if anytime after April 2nd or 3rd, then they would push that out to October the 1st before we could get that approved through the state. And so we couldn't even put somebody in this position unless it's on this grading scale. So basically, we was just putting that in here to get your all's approval so that we can create the job description to get to the state.
So we are voting on that part as well today?
Yeah, all of it as a complete document.
Good questions. Any other discussion on the first reading of ordinance number 04-2025? Seeing none, we'll move forward, and we will move into department head reports. Our featured department head tonight is Director of Parks and Recreation, Priscilla Bloom. Priscilla, welcome back. You have the floor.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, City Administrator. Hope all you guys are doing well this evening. So spring has finally sprung, and it is certainly a busy time for the Parks Department. Currently, we have a maintenance team of 2 right now, and they've been working really hard to get the parks ready after a tough winter. Our outdoor restrooms are open for public use. And Mr. Terrell, I know it's important to you, so I wanted to let you know we are working to get the water fountains up and going. It looks like most of them are going to need some parts and repair, but I wanted you to know that we have gotten started on that. Sometimes we have to get the help of Public Works on those, so we'll do it as soon as we can. Yes, sir. Will all 5 be working? That is the plan. Unfortunately, there can be cantankerous is the word I'll use. So this week, maintenance is continuing to work to get the ball fields in good shape. We got our first delivery of infield mix yesterday, and we plan to get that on the fields tomorrow because it looks like we've got some rain coming in, so tomorrow is our window. We're also prepping the soccer fields as MUSA begins their games on Saturday. A few other things maintenance has on their list. Quite a few limbs down in the parks in several different areas from the high winds and rain, so we're going to get those. We've got some stumps we got to take out because we've had several trees that have been removed recently. We've got some concrete areas at the ballpark and the skate park that need to be cut and repoured. Want to thank Public Works because they're going to help us take care of those things. So I mentioned we only have 2 maintenance staff right now, but Jennifer and I did complete some seasonal worker interviews last week. Looks like we have a couple who are going to be a good fit for our team, so I really hope to have them on staff very soon. So it's also busy time for programs. Friday, we completed a week-long scavenger hunt throughout all of our parks. We had over 40 families that came out, enjoyed the nice weather. They all got a bag of St. Patrick's Day prizes. Saturday, we partnered with the Madison County Library and Winterberry Studios for what they called the Ever After Jubilee. And although the high winds didn't permit the outdoor happenings, we had over 80 kids come out for fairy tale activities. And I want to thank the Celts program at Berea College. Those students volunteered to help us, so we were very grateful. And also Bert's Speak Cheesy food truck came out for that one. Tomorrow we're attending a wellness fair at Heister Yale, expecting about 400 folks there. And it's just a really good chance for us to get information out to the community about programs and things that we offer. Next week, is that thing right in my face? Sorry. Next week, we continue our Munchie Monday Cookbook Club, which is another partnership with the library. Started that back in January. It's been very well attended. And if you want some free food, just come to the Folk Center. That's where we give them a cookbook, they find a recipe, they make it, and they bring it. It's kind of like a potluck, and it's been really a cool thing. Just a couple more programs that I'll mention. April the 5th, we have a spring painting. Got a few spots available. If anybody's interested, call us. April the 9th, we've got bingo with the fine people at the Senior Center. And then on April the 15th, we have a spring dance for individuals with special needs. And that's usually about 150 folks. That's a fun time. I'll give you a little update on the pool construction. So right now they're working on installing the main drains. They've cut out the pool bottom. They're putting in 2 drain boxes, and then they'll put new piping that connects to the surge tank. So they're hoping to finish that up next week, and then they'll pour the pool bottom after that. So hopefully we'll continue this dry weather for the most part. Speaking of the pool, we are accepting applications for all of our pool staff, managers, guards, and concessions. You can get an application at City Hall, at Human Resources, or at the park office, either one. And I'll take any questions that you guys might have.
Questions or comments for Priscilla? Ronnie?
Are we working with the youth league about picking up senior citizens up there where the bollards at, where they will got a number for them to call and somebody would come up and take them?
We're working on a paging system, so when you get to the bollard, there's a button that you can press. It'll have a sign that says if you need assistance, to press the button, it'll go to somebody and they can come pick you up.
I like that.
Yeah, technology.
It'd be better than that paper.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're right.
okay.
Good idea. Other questions or comments for Priscilla? Y'all gonna let her off the hook this easy? Priscilla, thanks for all the work that you do. I know that you're always busy, but this is a especially busy time of year. But I do want to comment that I hear a lot from people in the community, from my own family members even, that talk about how grateful they are for the programs that are offered for the kids and for adults alike, and just fun events that are free to the community. So the guys with maintenance do a great job. You do a great job leading them. But thanks to Anita as well, because I know she puts a lot of those programs together. So please pass along that compliment, but hear that very frequently on how many good programs at no cost that the Parks Department puts on.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
the programming. Ronnie?
I've got the trail, what are you calling the new? Trail path? What is it? The trailhead. Yeah. Is it going out for bid? Or is it out for bid? Or,
It's not out for bid for yet. Sean, you want to take that one?
We're still working with getting the funding for that through the grant, the RTP program. So it's still an ongoing process. We thought we would be in better shape at this point, but through some turnover and those kind of things, that's a state level.
okay.
Set us back a little bit.
So you won't put anything around the old concession stand until you get a contract? Okay.
Correct.
That's what it was.
All right, Priscilla, thank you.
Thank you.
Would any other department heads like to address the council? All right, seeing none, we'll move forward with public comment. Would any members of the public like to address the council? All right, seeing none, we'll move forward to the city administrators. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, come right on up. If you would, while you're coming up, I'll give you just a little guidance here. Public's given the opportunity to speak to the council during the public comments portion of the meeting. Any comments exceeding 3 minutes should be scheduled and would be placed on the agenda. When recognized, please go to the podium, state your name and your address for the record. Comments should be business-oriented. We ask for no inappropriate language or naming of any person individually during your comments. You have the floor. Welcome.
Hi, good evening all. My name is Patience Martin. I live 493 Pauline Drive, apartment 12. I have a tendency to ramble, and I know the spotlight is on a timer, so I'll stick to some notes and talk fast. I just want to thank you all. I've recently been reminiscing about how I attended my first city council meeting shortly after moving from a small Tennessee town to the big city of Berea in 2019, which I think was during your first term, Mayor Fraley. And so that meeting and that positive interaction I had with the council afterwards really became one of the many reasons I end up calling Berea home 6 years later. Many times across those 6 years, I find myself sharing gratitude with friends and neighbors about the uniqueness of our bubble and like our unique bubble in the Commonwealth. And much like the water fountains that our Parks and Rec Director Priscilla described, city governance can be cantankerous to maintain, I imagine. Yet the trials and faults I've witnessed since I've been in Berea are outweighed like time and time and again by the community and the respite that's offered here. The strong sense of community is of course driven by the community itself and also nurtured by the essential work done by city officials, employees, and our elected representatives. You all are representatives of the desires of your constituents, and you're also conduits for the Berea that we hope to be. So you'll occasionally see my face here at meetings, but more times than not, I watch from home. I'm not married, I don't have kids. I really just have to worry about keeping kibble in my cat's food bowl. But my job and my involvement in the community often still fill up my calendar. So last year I had a hospital stay, I had a surgery. It got in the way of life, including attending council meetings. So I can only imagine how tough it is for my neighbors that have much more on their plates to be as civically engaged as they would like. So I really value John Payne's push for this expansion of public comment and the support from the fellow council members I really commend you all for working to this essential compromise. I think of my neighbors who do have children or dependents, who work odd shifts, who are disabled, who spend evenings volunteering for essential community organizations, and how these obstacles can only be exacerbated by restricting the unnecessary allotted timeframes for public comment. So, as we know, it's important to recognize that citizen concern and distress is in fact alleviated by this practice of transparency and expanded platforms of communication with their representatives rather than the opposite. So thank you all for the work that goes into streaming council meetings online, making information publicly available afterwards, and for expanding advocacy from members for expanding public comment opportunity and consistency. Just like Councilman John said, the public should be given the opportunity to give an informed and persuasive comment before representatives vote on legislation. So I imagine you all don't often look to a public comment as a designated time for receiving some backpats, but I just want to take the time to thank you for upholding a platform for Berean voices in regards to how our communities would like to continue to thrive. I really appreciate it, and I'm so glad to still call Berea home and find myself here 6 years later. Thank you.
Thank you, Patience. Appreciate your comments, and you're always welcome here. All right, any other members of the public would like to address the council? All right, moving forward, I'll recognize our city administrator, Sean Sandlin. Sean, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. I don't really have anything significant to bring to you tonight. But we did pass out the department head reports in your packet, or actually in an email. So if you have any questions, I'll take those.
Questions for Sean? Comments? Ronnie?
Hey, Sean, down at the parks, where that tree is, laying in a triangle, I think you need to get with the college and see if they can get it cut up this week, because I think it's dangerous for kids if they're walking through there and get over there and a car's coming down there. I mean, I think it's a hazard for the kids. So I would hope we can get that college to get it cleaned up.
I actually spoke to them this week.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Steve?
How's I forgot to ask Priscilla, but probably you. How are we coming on the pool?
It's coming along. We had a project meeting, last week, Priscilla, I think? Yeah, Thursday, and there's been some setbacks with the weather. Obviously, it's rained a ton and that kind of thing, and in pool construction, you have to do things in a certain order, and some things wasn't able to be done appropriately, so we're a little bit of a setback, but we're hopeful that we can get it back on track.
Teresa?
Sean, I hope I'm not hitting a sore spot, but can you give us any idea of when the shooting range is going to fall off of your list of current projects?
Yeah, so I just talked to Roy about that today, and we're putting gravel in right now in the parking lot area. We got to pour some concrete for the building structures, and then pack the concrete in, or pack the the gravel in so that they can park on it. And we're looking for the end of next week, to be honest with you. Yeah. Yeah, we're pushing forward. We're prepared to move into concrete work.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Other questions or comments for the city administrator? All right, seeing none. Sean, thank you for the good report. In mayor's comments, I just simply want to thank the council members for coming to 2 work sessions in a row. We had a lot of things to consider and things that you needed to be informed on, so I appreciate everybody coming last night and then having another work session tonight. So you guys are always eager to show up, turn out, and I appreciate that. We'll move next to council comments, and I'll begin where I started earlier with Steve Davis. Steve.
Appreciate everybody coming out tonight. Appreciate the public comment, especially appreciate the way the council worked together to solve the public comment issue. And hopefully we'll get some good press on that out there on social media and everywhere that we compromised well. And that's it. Have a good week.
Thank you, Steve. John Payne.
Well, I, of course, would like to thank my fellow members of council for working together and voting to strengthen our community's voice. I think it's very important. I would like to add my voice to what Jerry Little said at our last meeting, asking if we might be able to have our work sessions here in the council chambers so that it may be televised along with our council meetings. And finally, in the tradition of Willard Scott, I would like to say happy 101st birthday tomorrow to my colleague from Madison County Public Library, Pauline Oliver, she worked from the time she retired from Parker Seal up until a couple of years ago, riding on the bookmobile. In fact, I believe she still rides on the bookmobile periodically. Again, she's 101 tomorrow, so happy birthday, Pauline.
Thank you, John. And Katie Startzman.
No comment.
Thank you, Katie. Teresa Centers.
I don't have anything either.
All right, Jerry Little.
I just got one thing. I want to thank Sean for getting their shooting range on track and getting that thing sort of done. I appreciate you. Thank you, brother.
Steve Cottle.
No comment.
Cord Jane Wilson.
No comment. Thanks,
And
everybody,
last
for
but
coming.
not least, Ronnie Terrell.
I'm afraid to say anything.
Thank you, Ronnie. At this point, I would request a motion to enter executive session to discuss the potential appointment of an individual employee under KRS 61-810.1F. Teresa Centers makes the motion. John seconds. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to enter executive session, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. The motion carries, and will now enter executive session. We'll call you back in at that time. right, I do have a motion from John Payne to return to open session. Is there a second? By Steve Davis. Any discussion on returning to open session? Seeing none and all in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say no. The motion carries. As the chair, I'll report that the Berea City Council met in closed session to discuss the potential appointment of an individual employee. No decisions were made in the closed session. Now that we are back in open session, I would like to request a motion for the council to approve my selection of Sean Sandlin as the full-time permanent city administrator for the city of Berea, subject to the execution of an appropriate employment contract. Is there a motion?
I make a motion.
By Cora Jane Wilson and second by Teresa Centers. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. The motion carries. Sean, congratulations. Appreciate all you've done and looking forward to working with you. Without objection, Sean, you don't have to make comments, but if you'd like to, you're welcome to do so.
Yeah, so a little bit overwhelming, just to be honest with you. I appreciate each and every one of you. My commitment has always been to Berea, and it always will be. And I just appreciate you confirming Bruce's recommendation. Thank you.
Any council members want to say anything to Sean? You're welcome to do so, but not required, certainly. John? John did want to say something nice in public, Sean.
Well, I can't say what I said about you during the closed session, but I'm glad you're on board in the new position.
Thank you, John. Cora Jane?
I want to say thank you for all your dedicated years of service and for taking and doing this for all of Berea. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right. At this point, we have come to the end of our agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn by Steve Cottle and a second by John Payne? All in favor of the motion to adjourn, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?